Sandra, welcome to another episode of Asexualise My Asexual Life. This is supposed to be for education about asexuality, so subscribe and hit the bell icon right now. So today I've got my Disney nightshirt on, actually. I'm in my nightshirt. Woo! Look. Anyway, so how to deal with stressful times. So how to manage your mental and physical health when you're going through stressful times and difficult times, such as moving. So this is a special episode because it's related to what's happening to me right now in my life, and that is I'm moving flats, but I can't actually physically move into the other flat yet because my furniture and bed included is not actually over there yet. So I can move some stuff in, but I can't move me in until I can get the removal company to move me on the 5th of November, as they're fully booked up till then. So going through a move again, because I only moved here last year, having to go through a move yet again is very, very stressful. One of the good things about it being not just my first time of moving on my own is the fact that I've done it before. But last time I did not use an actual removal company. I used a person, I paid a person, I should say, who I knew, and they got another person to help them move my stuff. So they're like a handyman, but they also moved me. So years ago, my parents used to move me wherever I went, but they can't do that anymore because my dad's on permanent oxygen now. So he has to be at home most of the time because he's only got a limited amount of oxygen in his little oxygen tank if he goes out in the car. So it's very serious. Obviously, he can't live without that. So it's very important he gets that. So I can't have him helping me. But he did buy me the little electric screwdriver, if you've seen that, and my best friend used it earlier today to help dismantle. Well, they basically dismantled the sliding wardrobe doors with it. I helped a little bit. So it's more like I helped them a little bit, but most of it they did by themselves. So, but I did help with the final bits. So they were using the electric screwdriver my dad bought me as an early Christmas present. So that was really good. So it is very stressful moving again. There's no doubt that stressful is, I was going to say there's no doubt that stressful is moving. I meant there's no doubt that moving is stressful. Sometimes I put my words the opposite way around to what they should be. And so I wanted to share with you some of the ways I'm managing my mental and physical health right now in order to get through these stressful and difficult times. One of the things is make sure you incorporate a bit of magic and fun into your life whenever you can with wearing stuff like this. So this is a nightshirt I got from Disneyland Paris, and as you can see, it's a fun Minnie Mouse nightshirt. So I think because a lot of your focus is going to be on the thing that is difficult for you and stressful for you at that time, one of the ways that you can de-stress is by making as many things fun or interesting, magical as possible to just lighten the mood a bit. So, for example, wearing clothes with Disney on them and watching movies if you have the time. I think it's important to try and make time for yourself to at least watch a movie, or if you haven't got time to watch a whole movie, if you've got Disney Plus, for example, you can watch a short film, just like they have shorts on YouTube and elsewhere now. They also have short little animations, for example, on Disney Plus, which I think is really great. So if you like Frozen, for example, you can see more little short Olaf videos that are really hilarious. They're very funny. And so anything like that that you can just weave into your day, if it's possible, or your week, can help make the situation a little bit more brighter, a little bit more relief. Obviously, if you need to do a lot of hard work, then it is important to not procrastinate too much on that and get straight stuck into the work, because the more you tackle the work ahead of you, the less stress you'll feel, because you'll feel you're getting it done. If you leave everything till the last minute, it'll become so overwhelming that it'll really stress you out and it'll cause an adverse reaction in you, basically. So you'll get less done. And it's important to just get on and realize you've got to do it. what I find helps me, because I've got anxiety, is actually taking some items already up to my new place because it's within walking distance. I'm thinking, oh, if I've got to pack this in a box, get the right box size for it, make sure it doesn't break. Some of the items that are not that heavy, it's easier for me to just put in a suitcase or shopping trolley and wheel it up to the other flat. It's not easy doing that. I say it's easier, but it's not easy because you've got to go up 37 hard steps. So there's a lot more steps than there is here. And, there is a hill that I have to go up to get into the city from where I live now, and there's steps usually, and it is a slog, it is exhausting, but I feel more accomplished and I feel better for having some stuff already over there. In some ways, I'm doing the job of the removal company, and so my best friend who's done a lot of this stuff as well with me. But I feel it just gives me a sense of relief that I've already got some stuff over there, and where I currently live here is such a small place that I find that it's very stressful living with so many boxes around and there wasn't enough space. So it's better that we took some items up to the new flat so that we can create more space to pack more boxes in this one. Otherwise, it just becomes unmanageable. So I think anything you can do to relieve yourself and to make things more manageable for you is a win-win-win. It might be harder in the short term, but it's better in the long term. And I think by having some items already up there, I feel like I'm making it more of my home. I feel like I'm able to think, oh my gosh, at least I've got some stuff up there and I'm making some progress, because I personally do not like sitting back just waiting for the removal company to take everything on the 5th of November. I'm not actually comfortable with that. I don't like sitting still. I feel I'm not making progress. I feel I just need to get on and get things up there. The sooner I get things up there, the sooner I can get on living up there, right? And so that is really difficult. But I feel by doing some things, especially when I'm taking stuff up that could get easily damaged, like pictures and stuff like that, I find it's really good. And a lot of the clothes have already gone up, because by the time I've bundled the clothes all the way into boxes and stuff, it's just insane. I feel like it's better just to put them in a case, which is what I have done, and take the majority up there, especially the ones I'm not going to likely use in the next week or so, and just get them done, get them put there, because then it's more relief. It's more like, oh, I've done some stuff for it. So I think that's really important. Now, I personally would love to do some writing, but I haven't been doing that because I've been so busy with moving. It is hard work. It is not easy. I managed to watch one movie between Friday and Sunday, and that was split into half. So that wasn't easy, but at least I got some relief. I think sleep, if you can get sleep, is very important. On the days you can't get much sleep because maybe you're waiting in, like I had to wait in for a washer dryer and a fridge freezer. I only got 9.5 hours sleep in 49 hours, I think it was, or more in the end. It was, so basically I didn't have sleep for about 40 hours. So that was really hard over 2 days because I had to have the washer dryer and fridge freezer. So I, by the time I got home, and then I did more stuff at this home, it was gone midnight before I even ate, and then I had to be up at 4 a.m. So I only had 3.5 hours sleep before I went there to have the washer dryer and fridge freezer be installed. And the letting agency had arranged for the guy to come and measure up for liner, because I'm having new liner put in the kitchen, and the letting agency are paying for new liner in the kitchen and in the bathroom. Now, I think before you move into a home, if you're specifically talking about moving into a home and there's repairs that need doing, I think it's important that you do speak up for yourself and say that to the letting agency. You can't guarantee that they're going to do everything and repair everything, but if you've spoken up before you move in there, then it can help to get the things sorted that you need sorted to make your home more comfortable and hygienic for you. So I do think advocating for your needs, being kind to the letting agency by expressing your gratitude for anything and everything they have done for you already, but also asking what you need going forward. It's important to be assertive with your needs, because otherwise, if you don't ask the question, it will always be no. Let me repeat that. If you don't ask the question, it will always be no. So if you need to ask a question in order to alleviate some of the stress or to deal with the stressful situation better, then ask those questions. Ask those questions in a way which is quite matter of fact. So I'll say, for example, in the place where I'm moving to, there needs to be a new soap dish. Please get me a new soap dish. And the stand that goes on, because it's green and corroded. The black blind has got white marks on it and brown, which looks like it's mold. Please, can you replace that? It doesn't mean to say they're going to, but they're getting a guy this Wednesday to do some repairs. So I don't know what they're getting, but that's an early start. I've got to be at the other place for 9 a.m., not on my current home. So tomorrow I can get some sleep. So on the days where you don't have to have a deadline or someone coming to the home to do, if you're moving house, for example, to do repairs or replacements or put new lino down or something, the days where you don't have to have an early deadline, those are the days where you can sleep in a little bit more and you can relax a little bit more, because it's important to get sleep, because when you're doing a lot of strenuous work, it is exhausting. And so if you exhaust yourself too much, you exhaust yourself so you can't keep the momentum going in the build up to the move, for example. So you need to be able to keep the momentum going, which means you need some rest time as well. And sometimes you haven't got time to rest. You're just like hour after hour, you've got to do this, got to do that. But if you can weave some time in for yourself to relax and just chill out for a little bit, it's important. Like on Friday, I was so exhausted because me and my best friend was literally taking stuff up to the other flat, and the case was heavy, very heavy. And so Friday, when he went after he'd gone home, I was literally on YouTube and I was just like watching basically music videos and music and dancing shorts videos just to unwind, just to de-stress. So that's the thing that can make me quite happy, is like to listen to music, especially if I hadn't listened to any for a while, which I hadn't, because when I'm moving, I can't stop and listen to music. So by just listening to music, unwinding, de-stressing, I try to make sure I do positive affirmations every morning still. That's very important to me, to start the day right, to think about things I'm grateful for. And one of the things that's good to remember is this stressful time will not last forever. Whatever stress you're going through right now, I'm sorry you're experiencing that. Just remember, it is temporary. Like, for example, the house move, I know by the 5th of November, I will be in the other place. And I know by the 8th of November, I will be out of this place. So all of my staff and all of me will be moved over there by then, right? By 4:30 on the 8th of November. That's the last day here. Because me and my best friend have got to spend time here cleaning a lot. You can't clean it while there's loads of stuff in it. So, and there's some repairs we need doing, filling in like holes in the wall and stuff where I put like, well, I had some cabinets put in the bedroom that were screwed in with wall plugs, and the wall plugs have come out and they've told us we have to fill that in and stuff like that, and some painting jobs where the paint's come off the wall and stuff like that. So these things still need doing. So for a while you have to understand that it's very intense. You have to accept the fact, yeah, this is not good for your body and mind. You are going to go through like some upheaval, some trauma, some discomfort, and you have to try and be comfortable with the uncomfortable and understand this is temporary. This is temporary pain. This is temporary stress. This is temporary anxiousness. This is temporary anguish, and you will get through this. And it's good if there is a deadline like moving, because I know by the 8th of November, the moving part is going to be over. However, I'm still going to have to sort through a lot of boxes of things to decide what to do, because some things in my possession, I feel that it's just I've got too much. I need to declutter. But in my current home where I live, I haven't really got the opportunity to do that, because you just had to pack everything away in 2 cupboards because there was literally no space to walk. Whereas with the other property I'm renting, the new one, it's got a second bedroom. So for a while, I can put the boxes and the bags and stuff in the second bedroom, which gives me a chance to go through them and sort them out one by one, while still having space in the other rooms to move around and to do things and to live. So I think this is very, very important. So, you know, if it's a case you're stressed in your own home, it's important to change your home environment, even if it's with little things. If you can do painting or decorating, like in the new place, in the master bedroom, the wall is just, I'll be just staring at the blank wall. So I'm coming up with artistic ways and creative ways of making that a home. Now I've got to get permission from the letting agency to do certain things, but I was thinking about hanging a curtain from the wall in front of me. The curtain I've got here actually, that's like sparkly, silver sparkly one, and then putting curtain lights down it, like either flower ones or heart ones, so that they're beautiful and look great, like LED ones, because I want to make it look like a home. Another suggestion was to also have art deco things on the wall. Apparently, they're like transfers that go on the wall that you can peel off. I'm not sure that I like that idea. I don't trust they'll peel off, to be honest. But obviously I want to accessorize. So the bathroom over there is quite cold, and when they put the lino down, it's still not going to be the warmest room. There's little bits of like salmon pink in the fleck of the lino I've chosen, but really I'm going to have to accessorize. I'm going to have to get because there's no shower curtain there. That's how unfurnished it is. So I'm going to have to get a shower curtain. I wanted to get one with fish on it because I like aquariums, but also I want something red, like burgundy color. So I don't know if I can get a burgundy one with fish as well or not. I have to see what that's like, but I want to like bring some warmth, I think, back into my environment, because at the moment, a lot of the time I've got white furniture and stuff in this room. You can't see the rest of the room, but I feel I want some more, like, this is colourful, right? But I feel I want some more colour, especially in the new place. So I have to see what I can do about that. And it's smaller rooms, so I'm not used to a small bedroom, so that'll be difficult. So what I'm doing is like having fun where I can, even if it's like wearing fun night stuff, watching movies to relax. If they are relaxing, you got to watch things like comedy, animation, light-hearted things that make you feel good and joyous. If you start watching movies that make you feel bad or stressed, it's just going to add to your stress, right? It's still important to wash, shower, have some, like quality time in the shower with yourself, making sure you're clean. Self-care is very important, making sure you eat. So even though I've been so stressed and time is of the essence, I've taken time out of my day, for example, to go to Nando's or to go out with my best friend later on today. It's like a reward for all the hard work that we're doing at the moment and how stressful it is. I have to keep, when I get stressed, and this is true of quite a lot of people, I believe, when the body gets stressed, it tends to consume more calories because it goes into fight or flight mode. So therefore, your body, or at least it's wanting more calories because your body is needing more energy potentially to go into fight or flight, to be ready to fight, fly, or flee. And so when it goes into this mode, it needs more food to be able to flee the situation as quickly as possible. So as well, if you are awake longer than you should be, so you're staying awake longer and not sleeping much, equally your body wants extra fuel to keep itself awake. When you're awake more hours, in order to stay awake and in order to stay strong and get your work done, you have to eat more usually to be able to sustain that level of energy. Because otherwise, if you're really exhausted and tired, then you won't be able to sustain that level of energy unless you do something to plow more energy into yourself. Does that make sense? Interestingly, I started therapy today, mental health therapy. So I'm seeing a physiotherapy for my back, but I haven't been doing as many back exercises because I find with all the strenuous work I'm doing with lifting stuff, which is hard because I've got recovering from a back injury, I can't lift I can't lift heavy things. But when I'm dragging a case up the hill or moving things from one place to another, it does take a toll on my back. So I find that because I'm doing a lot more physical exertion activities, that actually it is how can I put it? It's harder for me to do my exercise because it just feels too exhausting because it's like exercise on top of strenuous exercise. So I have to give myself a bit of grace and think, okay, I'm not exercising as much as I should be for my back at the moment, but that's making my back more painful because I'm not doing all the correct exercise I should be doing. But I'm still seeing the physio and maintain that even though I'm moving. And I started in therapy today for my mental health. So I applied to a place that I used to go years ago for counselling. And I applied when I split up with the short-term ex I share, right? But now I'm much of the time, I'm over a lot of that relationship. Not fully, I wouldn't say, but I am a lot better, right? But there's still like some trauma in my past that I feel that I need to actually address. And I've been on a waiting list for 6 months to see a counsellor. So I wanted to still do that. And so I was expecting to actually start seeing them next month because it was a 6-month waiting list, but it seems like it's actually been 5 months instead. So I have a male counsellor now. I started it this morning, and that was really interesting. He was really interested in what I had to say because he's not used to someone obviously who's on YouTube and an author and helping asexual. So I think he found it quite interesting. which is nice for him, I think, because I know when I was in therapy years ago and when I had a counsellor at that place, obviously I was very depressed back then, which I'm not depressed anymore. So I was coming from a different angle. I wasn't as experienced as I am now in dating relationships and life itself and attachment styles and everything. So he was quite impressed, I think, of how self-aware I was and how much I know about healthy relationships and about attachment styles and unhealthy relationships and stuff like that. So probably educating him. But I was telling him about my guinea pig angel and saying that was quite traumatic and how she died and everything. And he says, "Oh, even I feel sad now." He doesn't even know my guinea pig. So I thought that was nice. He seems empathetic. I've never had a male counsellor apart from once for just one session years ago. The rest of the time I've had a female counsellor. So I think it'll be nice to have a different perspective, a different counsellor. And he seems a nice person. So it's only the first session, so I'll be seeing him every week on a Monday. But I think it's going to be good because I feel I have some trauma that I want to work through. And that therapy is not something to be ashamed of. It's something that is like a tool you can use to enable you to exercise the muscle that needs to heal in a mental health way to improve your mental health. So when you're going through stressful times, it can actually help to talk to a counsellor or therapist because it can help relieve some of that tension, some of that stress by just talking and how you feel, sharing what's going on in your life and giving you that sense of relief. So I think it's important that if you are seeing a therapist or want to see a therapist or counsellor, that you do actually do that when you're going through difficult times and get some help. If you've got the support of friends and family, please do get that. Even if it's just messaging, if this is friends that live far away or online, everything helps. It helps you to feel a lot more comfortable and comforted. If you've got people that are in your inbox just saying, "Oh, how's your move going? How's things with you? Oh, I'm sorry you're going through this stress." Just all these little gifts, as it were, all these little messages that just show people care about you. And if you're going through a stressful time, that can really help. So if you have friends that are going through stressful times, just give them a message and say, "Hey, I hear you're moving. I know that must be really stressful, but I just want to know that I wish you all the best and everything goes well for you. And I'm cheering for you," and stuff like this. It helps. Like when I have YouTube comments about my house move and people being happy for me, it really does cheer me up. Anything that cheers me on cheers me up, right? And I think it's important to praise yourself and the other person or people that are helping you. So today, my best friend was helping while they were practically doing all the work. And I was saying that they're doing a good job. I really appreciate their help. If someone helps you, always thank them. Always show your appreciation. Tell them if they're doing a good job. They're not a mind reader. How do they know? Right? Praise them. Praise is so important. When you praise someone else, it actually feels good to you because you're extending your gratitude to someone. And gratitude is a really important thing in stressful times. You have to see what can you be grateful for. I'm grateful that I'm getting away from this mold in this toilet, for example. I'm grateful that all this new flat will be on one level. I'm grateful that it has got 2 bedrooms. I'm grateful that the kitchen has more cupboard space. I'm grateful the hallway bit is bigger. I'm grateful that I have found somewhere I'm not going to be homeless because my landlord's selling this place. I'm so grateful for that. So look for the gratitude, even in stressful times, even in difficult times. Look for the things that can bring you joy. If you can fit any hobbies or interests in, do so. If you can have breaks, do so, because giving yourself a break, even if it's just for an hour or two, will allow you to re-energize yourself, invigorate yourself, and actually allow you to flourish and shine more and get more done, be more productive. We have to take breaks in order to be more productive. But I know that sometimes you're up against a tight deadline. You can't always have a break. And you have to just remember, okay, I'm not treating my body and brain exactly the way I want to. I'm going to extremes. I'm doing things that I wouldn't usually do. And I'm doing it quicker than I have to do usually. And this is hurting me maybe mentally and physically a bit. But I know I'm going to be really uncomfortable. It's not great for me, but there isn't another way I see that I can do it quicker or in the time given right now. So I have to get through it and I have to push myself and I have to motivate myself by saying, "Come on, Sandra," or whatever your name is. "Come on, you can do this. I know you don't feel like it, but you can do it. Come on, you're doing a really good job." So self-praise, self-talk is really important. I do a lot of that. I have to. because it helps me. I have to say, this is good. Even if I just do one, if I'm not feeling very well, I just do one thing for moving. It's like, yes, but you should give yourself some time off. If you're not very well, you have to kind of balance like having a break with doing what you've got to do. But I've had to step up to the plate, if you like, even though I've not been well because I've been recovering from a respiratory infection. It's taken me actually a month to secure the tenancy. So I went and viewed the property on the 23rd of September. My tenancy started on the 23rd of October. Actually, I signed the tenancy agreement, though, with the letting agency on the 15th of October. So what's that, about 3 weeks? But it officially began on the 23rd of October. So it's a month from when I viewed it to actually starting the tenancy. That's a long time. But luckily, this place wasn't advertised to anyone else. Just I knew about it because I got in there quickly before it was advertised. So that's been really beneficial. So I'm making sure that I nourish myself with food. I'm making sure I eat regularly because I have to, because I get low blood sugar and I start to feel dizzy, and I have to say to my best friend, look, I've got to go and get something to eat now. I've got to go and get a drink. I've got to eat more food now. I've got to do this, right? So it's really important to do that. And obviously let family, friends, if you've got online communities, let them know, let your fans know, if you're a YouTuber like I am, that, hey, I can't stream all the time because I'm in the process of moving. Right? Tell people so they can share in your joy and your pain, if you know what I mean. They can cheer you on, and they can also understand that you can't be there for them as much as you usually are because you're just so busy, and it's nothing to do with them. It's not a reflection on them. It's the fact that you've got limited capacity and you've got limited energy and you can't do everything at once. And when you've got a lot of extra stress and stuff going on in your life, you have to devote more time and energy to it, which means you can't put as much time and energy into other people or places like you usually would. So let family, friends, and loved ones know that you might be absent for longer periods of time than normal. You might not get back to them with their messages as soon as possible because you have to do the move or whatever's going on in your life, So tell people, keep people informed, still continue those relationships and friendships as much as possible. Still show people you care, but just allow them to understand that you can't be there as much at the moment. Because this can help give you a sense of relief. Because if you have to continually do things with other people to help other people, please other people, even though you might want to do it, if you are not pouring into your own cup and having some relaxation time, some sleep time, some chill out time, some de-stress time, some recuperation time, then you are just going to burn yourself out and be no good to anyone, including yourself. So it's very important to self-love and self-care, keep your own cup filled up, and literally make sure that you are getting some rest or some chill time, some de-stress time. Work out what de-stresses you. For me, it's writing, but I haven't been able to do that lately, not my books. It's also listening to music, watching movies, messaging friends, just sitting there and not doing much for a while. Watching YouTube videos, depends what the content is, and getting more sleep when I can. When I can't get sleep, I have to realize that for hours I'm going to have to stay up. That's the way it is. When I can get more sleep because I've got a deadline the next day, I give myself the grace of allowing myself to sleep more. So I think you've got to get a good balance between your mental and physical health. If you can do some stretches and do some exercises to prepare you for more physical activity, then it's a good thing to do that. But if you find you get overwhelmed and getting too stressed with too much exercise, then you have to give yourself some grace that way and say, okay, I'm not doing all the exercise I should be doing because my body is getting exhausted and I have to choose the battles, if you like. And also I'd say choose your battles with people. Like if, for example, with the letting agency, I have had to mention things that I think that needs repairing or replacing in the flat. But there's some things I say, please, can you replace this? There's other things I just draw their attention to because I know that's not as urgent or as important for me. So the things I really need that are essential for me, I'm asking them to repair or replace them. The other things I'm just telling them about that's damaged. So they're aware that I didn't do that. It was already like that before I moved in. So it's important that you pick a priority and pick what things matter to you most and work on them first and foremost. Always prioritize things, do tasks in order of prioritization, urgency, and make sure you communicate with others. They're not mind readers. They don't know what you're thinking. So communicate with others, keep the communication going. If you're having a stressful time, like when I'm moving, like the other day, I said to my best friend, did I have a harsh tone with you then? And he's like, no. But I'm like, "Oh, sorry if I did, because I thought I did." You know what I mean? So I've got to be aware of my own tone of voice, my own actions. But sometimes I know I'm in a hangry mood. Hangry is when you're really hungry, but you feel angry about it because you haven't eaten, or your blood sugar levels dropping. So I will literally say to my best friend, I need to get food now. And I won't, if I'm on my own, I won't talk to anyone then. Like, for example, some things I need to tell the letting agency about, repairs or replacements that I think was needed. And they're just 4 doors up from where I currently live. But I wasn't going to go and march in their office or speak to them when I'm in a bad emotional state. Now, in order to put myself in a good emotional state, I need to be eating. I've noticed that nutritional foods and, or high density carbs, I have to admit, high density carbs give me a lot of energy when I need to stay awake for long periods of time and I need to do a lot of physical activity, right? And so if I am feeling hangry, which is hungry and angry, I will immediately say to my best friend, like I did the other day, I've got to go and get something to eat because I don't feel good. I'm not feeling good because I do not want to be hangry with him or anyone else. So I won't go into the letting agency that just are 4 doors up from me. I won't go and say anything to them because I know I'm not in a good emotional state. And I could say things in a tone of voice that isn't good. I could express myself wrongly that might make them defensive, and it's no good. So sometimes we have to hold ourselves back from talking, from messaging or communication or much of it until we've looked after ourselves first and foremost. Then we can speak to other people and communicate with them more effectively because we've filled our own cup up, our own energy up. Does that make sense? So I knew the other day that I'd had such a difficult day with stressful stuff, the move. I knew that I'd been to flat and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's other things that need doing. I'm just going to email, but I'm not going to email these people until I've had some food and calmed down and my energy levels are back up to being in a good state. Because if I email them now or I walk in there in a very bad mood, in a very like energy drained place, it's going to come across as wrong. The tone's going to be wrong. I'm going to get off on a bad foot with them, and I don't want to do that. And it's not going to be productive or effective. It's going to end up in defense, and I don't want that. So one of the things I ultimately urge you to do if you're going through a very stressful time is make sure you put yourself in the best emotional state you can. And this is by eating nutritious foods and foods that give you energy. People really don't value this. There's people who literally neglect themselves and they don't eat properly. If you are going through a stressful time, you need to be eating. You need to make sure you eat food because that will put you in a good emotional state, a better emotional state, to be able to deal more effectively with people, especially new situations and new people, and also help the communication. So I literally the other day I thought I will email them later at an agency. I will not go in there and speak to them because I am not in a good mood. My energy is drained. When I get like that, I don't really want to speak to anyone quite a lot of the time. When my energy is really badly drained like that, I'm like, you're running empty. You're feeling hangry, you're not in a good mood, it's not good. You need food and to just chill out for a bit. Then you can speak to someone. This is the same in relationships, if you're not feeling in a good state, sometimes it's better to go away from the situation for a while, then address the situation later, then say something. In some ways, it's good to say something at the time because it's more poignant. But if you're going to say something in a bad tone, say something that's ineffective, it's better to wait till the next day or a few hours later till you've calmed down, got in a good emotional state as possible, and then address the situation. Right? We do not want to be doing things in a high state of poor emotional intensity, right? Where we're drained of energy, we're really feeling angry because we need food, we're hangry, angry and hungry, and our energy is so depleted like a battery levels are really low because it's just not effective. So make sure in stressful situations you are eating. If you're not able to sleep as much as possible, then make sure that you are getting some sleep when you can to make up for the other sleep that you can't have at certain times, right? So this is really important. Like I said, get therapy if you want therapy. Therapy is nothing to be ashamed of. It is a tool to be used, just like going to the gym. It's a workout for your physical health. Therapy, counseling is a workout for your mental health. It's very important. Whatever you're doing in life, you need to exercise those muscles, whether it's the mental muscles or the physical muscles, right? So we need to be kind to ourselves and think, you hope everything's going to go according to plan. It might not. And if it doesn't, that's okay. Have different plans in case things go wrong. For example, the removal company's moving me on the 5th of November because I didn't want to leave it till the last day that I've got to be out of here by the 8th of November to be moved. Because if there's anything they say to me, look, I can't fit that in my van, I can't actually move that, or something goes wrong and one of the removal company people are off sick and they can't move me anymore that day or something, I want to have a few days to be able to get something else in place if I really have to. I don't know what I'd do. I'd find it really hard. I don't know what would happen, but at least give myself a few days is better than nothing, right? That was the earliest he could fit me in. And I've allowed myself a few days here till the 8th of November I move out to actually allow myself to be able to clean the place up here to get my deposit back, right? So there's a crossover of places on purpose. And, well, I say on purpose, I had to have a crossover anyway because the removal company couldn't move me till the 5th. So they're fully booked up, which means obviously they're in demand. I haven't actually booked an official professional removal company before. This is the very first time in my life I've done it. So it's a learning curve for me. So I think that, if I have to move again, at least I'll understand this process. So that's a good thing. Like if you're going through struggles and stress and everything, but you're doing stuff you don't usually do, it's way out of your comfort zone, you can remember what to do for next time. Every time you practice doing something new and different out of your comfort zone, you then become more used to it. So you're not so stressed the next time. You're not so apprehensive. You're not so anxious because oh, I recognize this is familiar. I've done this before. I know the drill. I know what's going on. But some people are like, oh, I've never done that before, so I can't do it. The only way you get good at doing something is by doing it when you've never done it before. So you know what to do the next time. And the next time you do it, you'll get better. The next time you do it, you'll get better. The next time you do it, it'll be easier and less stressful in the sense you'll know what you're doing. So the actual thing you're doing might not be easy or unstressful, but the way you do it or how you do it or the surroundings of what's going on will be easier if you've done that type of thing before. You learn from experience. So it always makes me smile when I hear someone say, oh, well, I've never done that before, so I can't do it because I don't know what I'm doing because I've never done it before. And it's like, well, it doesn't mean to say you can't do it. And until you actually do it, you're never going to be able to do it. Anything from a kid, like toddler, when you were crawling around on the floor and learning to walk, you had to practice walking in order to do it. If you sat there on the floor saying, I'm never walking, I'm not putting my toes up, I'm not going to go on my feet, I'm just not going to do it because I've never done it before, I don't know what I'm doing, you never get anywhere in life. So in order to get good at doing something, you've got to do it, a little bit of it, more and more of it, in order to get good at it. In order to grow your confidence and competence in it, you have to be doing it more. It's like anything in life is a skill that you can learn, but it takes practice. Like, I think that I'm good at public speaking, but I know my anxiety is a problem for me with that. I'm fine on YouTube, but when it comes to in person, it's harder for me. And that's probably might be even taking years before I overcome the fear. It's not so much of a fear, but anxiety, which is fearful, I guess. But I know if I want to be better at public speaking, I'll have to practice that more, which I don't want to do in the sense that I'm scared, but I do want to do it in the sense I want to overcome the anxiety. And I think it might take me 10 years before I'm as proficient as I would like to be. But that doesn't matter. Sometimes your journey in life is longer than other people's. Sometimes you're slower at doing things. There's nothing wrong with being slower. There's nothing wrong in taking your time and taking longer than other people to do things. The point is you just make incremental progress by doing these things. And we have to get uncomfortable. We have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable in life. We have to get used to doing things out of our comfort zone in order to succeed in life, in order to have a life, a good life, an interesting life, not a boring one. in order to stretch ourselves and do things we didn't do before. If you think back years ago to the things you couldn't do, but you can do now, you can be very proud of yourself. Maybe it's going on a run. You couldn't do a run before. Maybe it's a long walk. You can never do a long walk before. Maybe it's trekking. Maybe it's camping. Maybe it's dancing. Maybe it's swimming. Maybe it's horse riding. Whatever it is, there's something in your life or multiple things in life that you can even dream of doing years later. For example, I never dreamt that I would be able to design t-shirts. I have Asexual t-shirts on Amazon. I also have another brand called Quirky t-shirts on Amazon. There's one t-shirt particularly in my Quirky t-shirt brand that I don't usually talk about that much that sells well. It sells regularly throughout the year. Not tons, but it does keep selling. And I'm very proud of that because there's multiple people in the world, especially on Amazon.com, they get this t-shirt, that's walking around with a t-shirt I designed. That was like one I designed a long, long time ago, one of my first ever t-shirts. And I wouldn't call myself a designer years ago, but now I'm a designer, right? I design t-shirts. People buy them. And so I've accomplished that, writing books, actually getting them published in my own book publishing imprint was a dream. 2017, I started actually using my own imprint. I was a registered publisher in the UK. So these books are like Asexual Perspectives book bestseller. Diary Confessions book bestseller. I didn't know that I wanted to be a bestseller years ago, but I didn't know I'd actually achieve that ever. That's amazing, right? I didn't know that I'd be able to ad-lib on YouTube and just talk without a script. That took practice. The reason I started doing that is because I went to a public speaking course years ago with a guy called Andy Harrington. And it was a weekend event, and he said the best public speakers can ad-lib. They can say things without a script and remember it in their head exponentially. And so I taught myself how to do that, which is not easy. Most people who do YouTube videos, they script it out. I don't script it out. I think of one thing that I need to say and I just start talking about it in my educational videos like this. Right? But years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I would have years ago, I first started this channel. It was only like 10-minute videos pre-recorded. Now, some of my videos or a lot of my live streams go on for about an hour or more. So life is very interesting, and we only get good at life, and we only get good at handling stress by going through that stress, coming out the other side and learning ways to cope and deal with that stress. Does that make sense? And also you can ask other people, like, how did you deal with this stress? How did you deal with a house move? Have you got any recommendations of the best removal company? Have you got any recommendations for how you should pack things? Have you got recommendations for clearing the clutter? Have you got recommendations for this, that, and the other? How did the move go for you? How far did you move? What did you have to do? What did you do in your new place? How did you decorate it? Or anything like this. Or you can just come up with creative ideas yourself, right? The world is your oyster. So I hope this has been helpful and insightful for you. Remember, when you eat food, nutritious food particularly, you nourish your mind and your body and your soul. And you enable yourself to be in a better state. We have to put ourselves in a better state. So watch some comedy, have a fun Disney top on if you can, chill out if you can, create magic moments in between all the stress. So hopefully you can alleviate some of it and you can keep yourself in the most sane way possible. I really make sure I'm eating this time, moving. I'm like, you've got to eat, Sandra. Make sure you eat. Even last time I went out quite a lot eating because I didn't really have time to cook. And I was like, you've got to go out. You've got to eat. You've got to make sure you keep your energy levels up because you're not going to get through this else. And so it's really important to nourish the body. Nourish the body and make sure you're eating foods. Make sure you're keeping your body alive and well. I still wash my clothes, but I'm behind with washing. I'm behind with washing bedding because I've had to wash it a lot, especially because I was ill. And I don't want those germs from my respiratory infection affecting me again. So I had to change the bedding more. Right? You might have noticed I've been itching. I've been doing this video because my legs keep itching more, so I'll be glad to move. So hopefully I'll be less itching. I'm not sure if it's bugs in this place. I use a mattress protector, everything like that. I just put clean bedding on, so I shouldn't still be itching. it seems like itch when I get overheated as well in this bedroom. So I'm hoping my health will improve in the next place as well. Be really good for me. So I hope this has helped you. Oh, Warren. Hi, mentor. You okay? I am a bit stressed because the moving is very difficult, but thank you for asking. So, yeah, every day is quite hard. Some days are harder than others because the move is very stressful, but I'm looking forward to it. One thing I just say in my head a lot of the time is, oh, I've got to keep remembering this is temporary pain for gain. Like going through the stress and all the difficulties, like physical difficulties when you've got to move boxes and you've got to pack, you've got to do more bending. Obviously, I'm recovering from a back injury as well. I have to just keep saying this is just temporary. It's just a few weeks. Well, it's a week tomorrow now, and everything will be like moved by then. And then, it's actually the 8th of November when I officially leave here completely. But it's the 5th of November I move all my stuff over, but I have to come here and clean again. So by the 8th of November, it's all going to be over, like all the moving stuff. And then, I won't have to have all this stress. So you have to kind of say in your head, the stress won't last forever. It's just here temporarily. I have to deal with it as best I can. I have to make sure I've got enough nutrition as much as possible. Make sure I get sleep when I can sleep. Accept the fact I can't get as much sleep as I usually would. Accept the fact I can't relax as much as I usually would. And know this is temporary pain for the gain of getting a new home. I'm not going to be homeless because obviously my landlord's selling here. So I've got to be grateful for the move. The place is nice. It's the nicest flat. It's the only one I actually viewed in person. The others were only online that I saw. And, this was my favorite place that I've got, and it wasn't advertised to anyone else. And I was lucky to get it because once something's advertised in my city, everyone wants it because there's hardly any adult accommodation here unless you're a student. It's all for students most of the time. Might get 3 to 5 flats a week that are for in my price bracket. Warren, okay, it's hard work, but you'll be okay when it's all sorted. Promise. Thank you, Warren. Yeah. Yes, I'll be okay when it's all sorted. Obviously, there'll be still a lot of sorting to do the other end, but then I'll have all my belongings in one place and be there then. So it'll be easier to deal with and I'll be able to relax somewhat. I can't think about relaxing too much now because I can feel the relief of relaxing, but I can't relax too much because obviously I've got too much to do. So I still have to keep a certain amount of urgency on my case and momentum, but I have to realize that it's important to still have some relaxation time if I can, some chill out time, because otherwise my energy depletes and the stress just gets too much for me. So that's why I can't live stream all the time on this channel at the moment because it's just too much. Like I still keep getting croaky voice from a respiratory infection. I would say I'm not 100% over that. From the point of view, my voice goes sometimes. I can be talking and then all of a sudden my voice will start going croaky again. And then I'll be clear again. And then I go croaky again. So my voice is still not 100% right. So I can't be on this channel stream all the time. And I just don't have the time to do it at the moment, to be honest. There's less shorts I've been doing lately, which isn't good. But it's because I don't have the time. Like I'm literally like like with my best friend, we're doing stuff all day today for the move, for hours. We got to eat out at the very end of like the last hour and a half of me seeing him. But the rest of the time we were doing a lot of work, and he was particularly doing a lot of work. We're taking the sliding wardrobes down. I was holding some of it some of the time for him, but he was doing really well, and so it's hard. It's really hard. And tonight I had to change all my bedding again. At the moment, I've got like more than 3 bags of washing over there to do because I'm, always cleaning my bedding from my respiratory infection. I haven't actually been able to do as much washing because I'm at the other place. The other place doesn't have Wi-Fi either. So, and the internet is really on my phone is really bad because the phone signal is really bad up there, and I don't have much internet on my phone anyway. So, I didn't know the phone signal was poor up there until I'd already signed the tenancy. So you can have a signal near the window, but you nearly have to be glued to the window, if you know what I mean. You probably saw a video I did the other day, which was really blurry, where I was trying to take you into the kitchen area, and the internet was going off there on my phone. So it's really difficult, but I am having I'm switching companies, sorry, not mobile phone, but landline, because the landlines are being phased out in the UK. So that's been an issue. So having to get a new digital phone for the new place and move companies to a sister company. And it's been a lot of difficulties behind the scenes with trying to sort different like energy company, water company. The new place has electricity and gas. I only have electricity here. I'd rather just have electricity, but it comes with both of those, so I have to do both of them. There's been a lot of phone calls. Like I was on the phone to a company called Southwest Water in the UK, and I was on hold for nearly an hour. I was 17th in the queue. I phoned the day before, I think it was, and I was 22nd in the queue, and I couldn't wait because I had to phone other services. So then I was 17th in the queue. It took me nearly an hour to be on hold to them. And then when I finally got through, it was like 40 minutes, 45 minutes to talk to someone. So that's nearly 2 hours of your life taken up. So when my best friend's not with me and they're at their own place and doing whatever they need to do to keep their stress levels down, which they do a lot of walking, which helps them. They'll just like chill out at home, watch some movies or relax and stuff, because it's stressful for them right at the moment. They're helping me a lot, doing lots of shifting of boxes. It hurts their back. It's hard for me to see their back hurting. And I know they're doing it to help me. I haven't really got anyone else to help me. So if they weren't helping me, it'd be worse, because obviously I'm recovering from 2 broken bones on my spine, and he is a lot more he's able to lift a lot. He's stronger than I am and able to lift a lot more weight, but it still hurts his back because it's a lot of movement, and he's used to walking a lot, but not used to all that up and down of unscrewing furniture, because he's taken my wardrobes down for me. One the other day and one today. So it's hard work. It's hard work. He walks for miles sometimes, 12 miles or 15. So he's very fit. But at the same time, he's like doing different positions with his back he wouldn't usually do to help me out. So I'm really grateful for that. But tomorrow I'm not seeing him because he needs time to recover from all the hard work he did, because his body needs time to recover, because his body hurts and aches and his back hurts from doing the wardrobe. So wish I could help. I would if I could. Oh, thank you, Warren. That's really sweet. Thank you so much. So, I know that I know he's not going to see me tomorrow, because we've already talked about that anyway, but I wasn't expecting that I was likely going to see him tomorrow, because I know he's in a lot of pain and he needs a recovery day. He needs to be able to gain his energy back, to do some walking that's like therapy for his soul and very good for his back, because walking actually helps his back to not be in pain. And he needs some chill out time and to recover from the exhaustion of doing the hard labor work for me, right? So you have to get a balance, but obviously I have to remember that I'm still the one who's got to move, and I still have to pack some stuff. So tomorrow I'll be sleeping in longer because I don't have to be at a deadline, but the next day I've got to be at the other flat before 9 a.m. in the morning, because there's a handyman, like they've got the letting agency, who's come around to hopefully do some repairs to the place for me, because there's some things that need, well, there's quite a lot of things that need repairing or replacing, in my opinion. But I've been told he'll do some of them. So some things I might not get done. But at least I'll get some of them done before I move in. It will be a good thing. So you have to like understand, if you've got people helping you, that they need their recovery time as well. They need time out for themselves to recover, to rest, to recuperate. And I didn't see him over the weekend because he needed recovery time and to see other people. He's got other friends other than me, to see other friends, to chill out, to help his mum, to do other things and to have time off. So you've got to have really good communication. You've got to kind of like, because obviously I'm the one who's moving. I need his help as much as possible. I've been very clear about that, but he's actually been really good. He's like got an appointment that he usually goes for every 2 weeks that he's cancelled, and to help me. He's seen me much more than he usually would to help me. He's spending a lot more time doing a lot more work for me, to move boxes and stuff to help me. And I'm very grateful for that. And I'm also aware, he said to me, like, if I help you in the week, I'd rather have the weekends off because I need some time off. So, I don't know what happened with the final weekend, though, because I really need him in the final weekend. Because, it's a final weekend. Next weekend is a final weekend to pack, but it depends how much we get done in the week. But I'm not seeing him tomorrow, so I know I'll have to do more work tomorrow. But I also need some recovery time myself, because otherwise, I am in a lot of pain, and my back is hurting more now because I am moving more than I would usually do. And when I'm recovering from a back injury, it's hard, So my injury, I can feel where it's injured before it's meant to be healed now, but I'm still going through physio. But the physio specifically told me it can take up to 2 years for me to have full range of movement back, because the way the bone grows back in the spine, it grows like thicker around the injury, and then within a process of 2 years it gets reabsorbed back into the body to go. It won't ever go back to the right shape. It's a wedge, two wedge fractures, and they'll always be wedged, they'll always grow that shape, but it's like thicker bone, and then the bone grows back into the body, it gets absorbed, so it goes back to the more normal size, so you can bend more effectively. But I was quite shocked when she told me a few weeks ago, oh, by the way, it can take you up to 2 years to get your full range of movement back. I'm like, what? So I have to accept that, because that's stressful. I'm like, when I hit that, it's like alarm bells. Oh my God, 2 years. Are you joking? You know what I mean? Like, how am I supposed to deal with a low range of, not as high range of movement for 2 years? But at the end of the day, I can move a lot more than I could before. I can still do some dancing now, which I couldn't before. And I can do a lot more things, and I'm in a lot less pain. So I still think I've made huge progress, and I'm proud of what I've done. Warren, oh, you're braver than me dealing with that. You'll get there though. Thank you. I broke my ankle twice as well, but that was once in 2021 and another time in 2022. It was the same bone, but worse the second time. But yeah, this year I broke that's recovered now, full recovery in my left ankle, but my back, two vertebrae, T8 and T9, were broken. Two wedge fractures. I got misdiagnosed for 3 times by NHS staff in the UK. So that was tough. So, I'm a lot better than I was. And if I'd had to move months ago, I'd be in a much worse position now, because I wouldn't be able to do even though I'm not doing near enough the amount of lifting that my best friend is doing. I am still doing more lifting than I would have done back then. I'm having less pain doing it than I would have done. I'm still able to bend more. I'm still able to move a lot more. So had I had to move months ago, it would have been a lot harder for me to do that. So what you have to do is, in stressful situations, you have to look at the positives of it. Even in dark and difficult times, you have to think, okay, so what is the good in this situation? Well, in terms of timing, it's not good, in the sense Christmas is coming up, right? It's the worst time to move in a lot of ways, and they're fully booked up, the removal company, to the 5th of November. And it was a surprise, like out of the blue, that they said about the fact the landlord is likely selling this place. But within that week before, I'd actually said to my best friend, I think I want to move from here because I'm not as happy as I used to be. So within 7 days, basically out of the blue, got an email from my letting agency. So your landlord is considering selling and giving you notice next month. Just give you a heads up in case you want to start looking for somewhere now. So had they not given me an early heads up, I might still not have a home to go to. And I would be facing homelessness right now. So I am very grateful. I am having stress, yes, but at the end of the day, it's much better to have a few weeks of stress than be on the streets. It's much better to have a few weeks of stress and have a home before Christmas than no home to go to. It's much better to have a few weeks of stress and hopefully have better health in the new place than it is to stay here where I'm not as happy anymore and where I know it's mouldy and it's bad for my health. You have to weigh up the pros and cons of these situations. You have to say, okay, I'm going through stress now, but what happens on the other side? What happens when I go through the stress? What is the gain I will get afterwards that if I'd stayed in my current state, I wouldn't have? Warren, that's true. So always look for the good, right? Because if we focus on the bad, we'll feel awful. And what we focus on expands, it gets bigger. The more things we focus on that's not good for us, or we think's not good for us, the more we'll experience hardship or pain because of that. And all I have to do is keep telling myself, look, this is temporary pain. It's for a few weeks. Yes, it's stressful. It's not good for your health because you are going through more stress. And obviously, stress this year particularly has really affected my health. It's like chronic stress I've had. Rashes come up, itches. My leg's itching at the moment, actually. I'm trying to hold it without itching it. And so the stress brings out itches and stuff in it and rashes and all sorts. It's very difficult for me. But I'm thinking, okay, but you go through this pain now, you go through this difficult time, and then it should improve, right? Because we stay in the same state and the state's not good for us, it's not going to help. So we have to push through our fears and our pain and our boundaries and difficulties in order to come out the other side and be in a better position. Unfortunately, I've moved once before last year. I wasn't expecting to move again so quickly. So although I thought to myself that I'm not happy here anymore, I'd like to move, I didn't think it'd be this year. I thought it'd be more like next year or even maybe the year after or something, because I felt that, I want to move in the future because I'm not happy here, but I definitely don't want to do it before Christmas. God and the universe had other plans. They're like, oh, Sandra's already visualizing a new place and she's already told us she doesn't want to be here. So we'll just magically make the landlord decide to sell right now. And there we go. And I'm like, okay, thank you. I had a wish. Well, I said it out loud, and within a week, I got what I said come true. I'm like, that is fast work, because I'm very spiritual. So I know that what we think about can come true. We can visualize something, we can give energy to it, and it can actually happen. And that happened really quick. I like to my best friend, I'm like, I only just said to you within like 7 days, I'm thinking about moving. And all of a sudden, I get an email out of the blue from my letting agency going, landlord's thinking about selling. And I'm like, what the heck? It's really weird because I watch a tarot reader. I didn't used to watch tarot readers years ago, but I talk about this tarot reader in my Diary Confessions book, actually. And he's really good because he talks a lot about business and he speaks a lot of sense. And I don't know what I was going to say anymore. My mind is going because I'm so stressed with the move. But I know I had a really good point that I wanted to make. But I know he talks as tarot reader about pushing through your comfort zone and your fears. And he says, like, we come up in life with resistance. And usually when we're resisting is when we're most likely, when our resistance is the highest, should I say, is when we're most likely to push through our fears and boundaries and succeed in what we want to do if we just keep pushing. So we keep pushing ourselves just that little bit further than we usually would, and pushing ourselves and pushing ourselves. That can happen. But yes, I know what I was going to say about the tarot reader now. He said at the beginning of the year that I was going to be moving this year, he said. And I was thinking, this is like he predicted this, and he kept saying it throughout the year. And I'm thinking, I'm not sure I'm going to move this year because so far it's not happened. And I'm like, towards the end of the year, boom, it's happening. So he actually predicted I was moving before even I knew I was moving, which is so interesting and fascinating, I think. And I do know that what we think about expands, because I was actually visualizing a better place as well in my mind. I was thinking, oh yeah, got a cleaner place and you're more settled and it's a nicer home for you, which the new place is going to be so much better in terms of energy efficiency. And it's actually double glazed. So when I go there, it actually feels a lot hotter. It's central heating, double glazed, and it's a new build in 2004. So it's 20 years old. It's 2 blocks of flats that's only 20 years old. There's 35 flats across 2 blocks. I'm in the back block. But it is a lot of stairs. I'm on the top floor as well, but I prefer being on the top floor because you've got less people around you because you haven't got anyone above you, if you know what I mean. If you're on the very end, you haven't got anyone next to you either, but I'm between 2 flats, I think. Or I'm next to 1 flat. And I think, yeah, because my kitchen's next to someone else's kitchen. But so far, interestingly, my next door neighbour is an Indian family. So I've only seen the person. So there's my flat and another flat and another flat at the end of a corridor on the second floor. And the one directly next to me, I saw the woman with the kid come out, and they're Indian. And I'm like, oh, I've got a nice Indian family I thought living next to me. So that's nice. And the person who lived there before I did, the new flat I'm moving to, she said that her neighbours are nice. So I'm thinking, oh, this is good. There's actually a lot of Indians around that area because there's loads of students as well. So there's Indians everywhere. It's quite interesting because when I was moving some stuff with my friend Andy up the high street, well, it was up the high street, then up Sidwell Street, there was an Indian guy eyeing me up. I wasn't sure if it's actually looking at my top because he had I had the Everything's Coming Up Aces hoodie on that I actually is one of my own designs on on my Redbubble Asexualise shop. Go and check that out. Redbubble/Asexualise/shop. And yeah, and I was wearing one of my own hoodies and he was looking me up and down, but I didn't know if he was just reading my hoodie or if he was looking me up and down because he was physically attracted to me, because that's quite interesting and funny, I thought, because he was going like this. I was thinking, because the colour looks good on me as well. It's like a royal blue. And when I wear royal blue, it really brings out the colour of my blonde hair and my blue eyes. So also it looks nice. Warren, yes, new place seems cool. You'll be happy. Warren says, I live in a flat. It's ace. Hope the fridge is okay. Yeah, well, the fridge freezer in the new place I haven't actually used yet because I don't want to switch it on because it's just like going to waste electricity, if you know what I mean. So I haven't actually tested it out. I'll probably have to switch it on the day before to make sure it's working okay. I guess I should have tested that, shouldn't I? Just to make sure it is in case it needs to go back and be swapped. So you do raise a good point there. I haven't actually used it yet because, yeah, I didn't want to use all the electricity. So what it is like in the new place there's electricity and gas. But the moment I'm having to swap over to my own electricity company here. I'm with Octopus Energy in the UK, and they're very good, energy efficient company. And I just have electricity in my current flat, so it's going to be more expensive moving to the other one because it's 2-bedroom rather than 1-bedroom. The flat itself is a lot more expensive. There are other expenses. A phone, internet's going to be more expensive. I'm having to switch to a higher tariff to be there, and so it is kind of like difficult. But the fridge freezer is brand new, but I haven't actually tested it out yet. I haven't actually switched it on because what's happening is the previous tenants, they were on a pay as you go meter, which means they've got to top up electricity. This is electricity, not gas. They've got to top up by going to shops. I had to do that. But in order for my own energy company to take over, before they can install smart meters for me, which they can't do probably till middle of next month, I've got to have a prepayment card from my electricity company. So I've got to use up the current. I put £5 on there the other day, but because I'm not over there, I didn't want to put the fridge on to use electricity when I don't need to, because I need to keep my electricity bill down until I actually move in there. So I haven't actually tested out. The people who installed my washer dryer, they did a quick cycle on it and they said it's working fine before they left. But they told me the fridge freezer has to stand for 4 hours before you can even switch on and use it, which is stood for more than 4 hours now. But I've just removed the tape. It's quite good because it's got a plasticky smell. So I'm opening all the doors to let the air as well, which so that should let some of it go. But I've actually took all the plastic pieces of it because it's covered in plastic. So I did all that yesterday because I hadn't even done that because I'm not at the other place all the time. I'm at here a lot more. So, and I'm still living here at the moment. So it's hard. Whenever I go up there, I've only got limited time and limited things to do. So yeah, I guess I should test it out really before I move, just in case. Oh, there's a little butterfly or moth flying around in here. I can't work out. It's a tiny thing. But yeah, so I think you do raise a good point now. I'm like, oh, I should test it out. But until the energy's properly swapped over and I've got my new card, because the old card that I'm currently using has got money on that doesn't belong to my energy company, and that'll be void when I get my, I think that'll be void when I get my new account. Well, they've set up my new account now, the energy company, but they said I won't get a new prepayment card till the 30th, which is when I've actually got the handyman coming around as well. So there was already £5 on this electricity stick that was topped up before from the previous tenants, and I stuck another £5. But when I went to look yesterday, it was £6 something. So I don't want to use too much electricity because I don't want to be putting more money on there unnecessarily. I just want to be able to go on the, well, I don't even want a prepayment card. I hate going into a co-op shop and saying, can you put money on this card, you know, because you could run out doing stuff like that, especially when I'm living there all the time, because I'm going to be using a lot more electricity then. So you know, potentially I could be going out nearly every day to get more electricity, right? I mean, I usually use between £3 and £5 a day here on my own because I use a lot of water and stuff. So you know, £5 could just go like that. So it's not good. So I need to like limit the amount of electricity I use in the other place until I've got everything sorted like that. It's actually a nightmare trying to sort things out. So like it can take a couple of hours just to like have a conversation with someone and try and sort something out. But then I get so stressed that I have to then say, all right, you've got to eat now. Eat before you phone them. And then afterwards, you have to calm down. You have to just chill out on the bed for a bit, listen to some music or something, or watch a video like on YouTube, or just take time to calm down a bit, have some more food, because, doing things like this is really stressful. Like with my phone company, I'm having like internet, not my mobile, but the internet, I'm having to change companies to their sister company, which I've not been with before. So, because in the UK, I explained earlier, they're getting rid of landline phones. The only way I can keep a phone that's not my mobile is digital. One is new. It's £18 just to have that with internet on top. It's really expensive, whereas I can get an internet only deal for 25 quid. Well, with them, it's 26.99 the internet, and then I've got to pay £18. So basically, I'm paying 40 quid. But it's the only way I can keep like a landline phone. And because my dad is on permanent oxygen now, he's rushed into hospital, he's on oxygen, he's critical. My parents don't usually use mobiles, and my mum might need to get hold of me at my home phone. So I need a home phone. I need to be able to get hold of my parents. And I've got disabilities with fibromyalgia and anxiety. So I really need another phone. Do you know what I mean? Besides my mobile. Years ago, I used to have a mobile, but obviously my dad is in a lot more critical condition permanently now because he's got on permanent oxygen. And if my mum ever needs to get hold of me, she doesn't usually phone the mobile, and I can have my mobile on silent and switched off. So it's important in emergencies, people can still get hold of me on that, so I'm paying more money for that, but it'll be worth it for peace of mind, So, but that was a huge long conversation. I think I was on the phone to them for 45 minutes or more. And then when they switched me over to the other company, he hadn't actually told me the truth about some of the stuff in the new company. So then I had to phone the new company up and say, hey, the guy told me who switched me over. It doesn't officially switch over till the 5th, by the way, when I move. So he switched over in principle with the paperwork, but actually the new company doesn't actually turn me over to the other flat internet until the 5th when I actually move. So I'm still using internet here because obviously I want to be able to use internet from there when I move in so I can still connect with you. Otherwise, if I don't have the switch over on the day I actually move my stuff over there and sleep over there, I'll be without internet over there. Does this make sense? Warren says, sorry to hear that. Hope your dad will be okay. My heart is with him. Oh, bless you. My dad's alive because oxygen's keeping him alive, but he can't live unless he has permanent oxygen now. He's rushed into hospital in January, so he's permanently on oxygen for the rest of his life. So he has to have a thing up his nose, tube up his nose. He has to have 3 cylinders in his home to be able to live with oxygen constantly pumping into him. His lungs collapsed, basically. So he was rushed into hospital and had loads of tests, and that's what they found. So he has a specialist come and seen him and stuff. But that's his life now. So it's harder for him. He's had to come to terms with that. That's very stressful for him. It's very upsetting that one day, that happened, but he would not be alive if he hadn't have gone to hospital, thanks to my mum, who told him to phone the doctor up. And then he drove himself to the hospital when he barely had any oxygen in him. And the doctor gave him a letter to go to the hospital with, and the neighbour drove him to the actual hospital. And then they put him straight on a mask within 5 minutes, and he was in there for, I think, for a couple of weeks. And he came out, and they're like eventually told him that his lungs collapsed, I think they said. It's to do with his lungs, they don't work properly anyway. And then he'll be on permanent oxygen forever because he has a specialist that comes and sees him. They have to monitor him because they can't, obviously in a power cut it's dangerous. He's got a little cylinder that can last up to 2 hours to go in the car, but that's it. On his backup, but also to take in the car. But he has to keep that charged regularly, because if he hadn't got that, so it's hard in a power cut. There's going to be a lot of trouble. He has actually been without it once or twice in his home by accident because he forgot to switch it on. So he can actually live if he's not doing much and he's being very sedentary and just sat there. He can actually still be alive for a number of hours, but he starts getting really sleepy and he'll like go into really sleep all the time. And so obviously he's not supposed to do that. They've told him they have to monitor him from the hospital. So he's not supposed to do that. But once my mum said he was doing puzzles, he does like crosswords. And he was sat doing crosswords and he didn't realise it wasn't switched on. And then he was like started to fall asleep. And mum's like, oh, are you all right? And she realised it wasn't on. Because there's lack of oxygen, it makes you like, nearly pass out, I guess. So it's dangerous. He shouldn't be doing that. But so it's not like he couldn't live at all completely off oxygen, but his oxygen levels, they go down to the 80s, or a human being supposed to have between 95 and 100% oxygen. He's usually without oxygen, or even with oxygen, sometimes it's going in the 80s, and downwards. So he's got to keep it up. So yeah, it's hard for him. But he had to adjust to that, which means he can't be near an oven at all anymore. He used to be a blacksmith, so he used to be near a forge. He can't ever do that ever again in his life. He can't be near a flame because of this gas in the cylinders, the oxygen and stuff. So he can't be near that. So, but luckily he handed his non-profit blacksmith business. He used to do that for a living, paid living, a self-employed, and then he had a non-profit when he was at retirement age. He had a non-profit doing that, and used to do courses from people all over the world. Used to come and be taught by him. But he handed the business over to a younger guy this year. Luckily, there's other non-profit, and it was a good job he did. So it's only a few weeks. I think it was only a couple of weeks before that happened that he did that. So everything happens for a reason in divine timing. But luckily my dad's alive, because if my mum hadn't told him, because my dad was like, "Oh no, it's nothing." He couldn't walk up a step to put my Christmas decorations up. So this was January this year. So they look after my Christmas decorations because I have no room in my flat when I downsized here, and there'll be no room in my other one. So my dad was trying to put them up in the loft, and he couldn't even get up the steps. He didn't have the energy. And my mum's like, "You've got to call." He was getting breathless as well. "You've got to call a doctor." And he was like, "No, I'll be fine." My mum called the doctor for him, and he was there. And then they're like, "You need to go to hospital straight away." So yeah, that's what happened. So that was a bombshell for my dad. It's really difficult for him. He has to deal with that, with stuff like that. Tubes up his nose all his life, for the rest of his life, pretty much all the time. It's hard for him. But at least he's alive. He wouldn't be alive if he hadn't gone to hospital. So, it's good, but it's hard. And that is stressful because he can't do much but stay indoors most of the time. And my dad is used to being more active than that and going out somewhat, right? So it's hard for him. He's not a real outgoing person. But when he used to do the blacksmith thing, at least once a month, he used to do like a blacksmith social event, like get together and just smack pieces of metal and make what you want. It's members day, so they can basically make what they want, chat and eat together and stuff like that. But he can't do that anymore because he can't be near a forge anymore. So it's really hard for him, so it's not easy. But we all go through challenges at times, and we have to make the best of what we've got. Like, I've got fibromyalgia, and I wrote a book to help other people with fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is a chronic pain condition that affects the nerves and muscles of the body, right? But I actually see the benefits of fibromyalgia, which is not what people would see, because I used to have depression until I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia in 2012. It's actually that saved me from depression. I used to be suicidal for years, but fibromyalgia stopped that, because I realized that if I continued to talk negatively to myself, I'd actually end up on crutches or in a wheelchair, like so many other people with fibromyalgia. Because I realized that what we put into our mind, the way we talk to ourselves, and the negativity that we give ourselves, it causes chronic emotional pain, and the emotional pain manifests itself in the body as physical pain. So I'd literally put myself in a wheelchair on crutches if I carried on doing that. So in July 2012, I literally stopped talking negatively to myself, which I'd done for years, ever since I can remember. As a child, I was bullied and depressed as a child, even. So it was horrible. But it was fibromyalgia, chronic pain condition, that stopped me from depression, which I don't think anyone else can say. I'll talk about this in my Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. It's an autobiographical book, so do grab a copy on Amazon. You can benefit from it even if you haven't got fibro, and it is a good insight into how I deal with my fibromyalgia. So I have a lot more energy than most people with fibromyalgia. I block out the pain using my mind, but also there's a lot of things I don't eat and don't drink that cause fibromyalgia to pain to be a lot worse. And I had someone in my inbox recently, an asexual guy, and he's like, what did Warren say? He's an awesome guy, I can tell. Oh, about my dad. Um, so yeah, there's a person recently who's asexual who said to me, "Oh, they came to me and they were saying about fibromyalgia again because they haven't been officially diagnosed, and they said the pain is so bad." And I'm like, they keep saying stuff to me like, "Oh, should I try this supplement?" I said, "You should get a copy of my book." I said, because even if you're having supplements that are meant to be good for fibromyalgia, If you're eating and drinking the wrong things that make your pain worse, it's just going to not work. Those other supplements are not going to work if you're still eating things that make you have pain. It's just counterproductive. But whether he listens to me or not is up to him. Do you know what I mean? I can't make someone listen. I know this from personal experience. I know because there's certain things I don't eat that I know other people do, and they get pain and they're bedridden for hours on end. And it's certain foods that they eat. And yes, it's hard to cut those foods out. You have to be disciplined. And a lot of people aren't disciplined. They just keep going on and on doing the same thing because they're not prepared to give up certain foods that they've loved for years, but would stop them having loads of pain, especially with rheumatism. Even these foods can affect, not just fibromyalgia. But people won't do it. And it's like, so you're just going to keep paying for supplements. I have supplements, but I also try and cut out the foods. Well, I have cut out foods and drinks that are no good for fibromyalgia. Luckily, I'm allergic to most of the foods and drinks that are painful for fibromyalgia, that cause fibro pain. So I'm allergic to them, so I just don't have them. Although I get more and more allergies, unfortunately. I don't get better with allergies. I get worse. This year I've developed an allergy and problem with rice, which is really hard for me. I do still eat some rice stuff, like rice noodles sometimes. Some rice noodles I'm okay with, some I'm not okay with, and some I can be okay with sometimes, but not others. But most rice stuff I can't eat much of now because it breaks me out in rashes and itches all the time. Warren, I'm allergic to flour. I go in pain when I eat that, and spices. Yes, flour's wheat. So that's actually one of the things that literally makes fibromyalgia pain worse is wheat. It's everything to do with wheat, not just flour. But obviously wheat's the main ingredients of flour, isn't it? So, but you can get different flours. You can get rice flour. You can get a floury thing made of potatoes as well. So, but most flours, I'm allergic to wheat, and I'm allergic to spelt, was the alternative to wheat, which is both you use to make bread. But wheat is one of the worst things you can have for fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis. I mean, I'm not a medical professional. I'll declare that now, but I just know from personal experience. But there are still people I know that have fibromyalgia that continue to eat wheat, and they continue to tell me I'm in so much pain. I spend hours in bed, but they won't stop eating wheat. And so what can I do? I can't force them to stop eating wheat. They'll just go round and round in circles because they don't want to stop eating wheat. But you have to stop eating things that make you really bad and ill eventually, because if you don't, you'll just keep getting worse and worse and worse. You won't get any better. So you have to give it up, or you continue getting the pain, don't you? So it's a choice we make. You know, you have to be disciplined in these things. It's hard because I've got so many allergies and intolerances, including to things I don't even wish I was, like strawberries. Got an allergy to raspberries, blueberries. They are antioxidants, blueberries. Strawberries is worse out of those three, you know? But my mum's got an allergy to strawberries. My uncle's got an allergy to strawberries. I can have a few tiny ones occasionally, but you know, I start rashing up. Or like years ago, I kept my lip swelled up like Nutty Professor. If you've ever seen that film, it's horrible. So we have to do things for ourselves and be disciplined about it. I have to discipline myself at the moment to do certain things for the move. I don't want to do them all the time, but when I can, I need to try and do some relaxation and some de-stressing and have a bit of time to myself to be able to give myself the enthusiasm and momentum to do it the rest of the time and push myself. There are some times when I'm just like, you just need to chill out. You just need to listen to a bit of music or do something different. So sometimes doing something different can bring us to more energy, invigoration, renewed energy, and can help us. So sometimes we just need to say, okay, my life's really hectic at the moment, but I'm going to take X amount of time, 10 minutes, 15, an hour, 2 hours, you know, to just cut off from everything and just recuperate, revigorate ourselves and re-energize. Hope that makes sense. And if you can fit hobbies in, great. But if you're doing something like I am with moving at the moment, I can't fit everything I want to do. I want to get back to my Asexuality book, but I haven't been writing it because I've had to do everything to the move. Warren, same as me. I've got lots of allergies. Cake, gravy, and some chocolate as well. Oh my gosh. Well, I can't have gluten or wheat or dairy or spelt or yeast. So it's a lot of stuff. And yeah, so I sympathize. If you've got a problem with wheat, then you wouldn't be able to have cake anyway unless it was made with a different ingredients to wheat. But like I'm allergic to spelt, which is the alternative to wheat, so I can't have either of them. So some people can find that you can be allergic to grains in general, which I think is why I've developed a problem with rice. But I've not had a problem with rice till this year. I'll be interesting to see when I move to my new home, because I want to assess myself in my new home. Like, is the itching on my legs, is it to do with the environment here? Because it's like, it's a bit moldy, and I think there's bugs in this place and stuff like that. Is it to do that, or is it actually to do with foods? I'll be able to monitor it a lot better then, because sometimes I get confused as to whether it's just the environment here or whether it actually is a food allergy I've got at that particular time. Because I even found, like, I've just washed, I've got this yellow thing I've washed now, but I found a bug on it the other day. I have a mattress protector on my mattress, but if you've got bugs that come down and land on the top of your bed on stuff and you sleep on it, then obviously it's going to be problematic. So I'll be interested to see how my health improves when I move, and to watch my reactions to things that I eat based on being in a different environment. If I react still to those things in a different environment, I know that it's not the environment, it's the actual food for definite. But if I stop reacting to it in a new environment, I'll know that it was the environment. And if I react to sometimes and not in others, then I'll conclude that I have got a sensitivity to that, but maybe not a full-blown allergy yet. So maybe I can have it occasionally, but not all the time. So you've got to assess yourself ongoingly, But my worst allergy is sugar. I can't have any refined sugars since I'm 15, but I didn't listen for 3 years. Between 15 and 19, I used to have it, and then I stopped. I cut it out completely. It's making me really poorly, very tired, very energy drained, very ill. And so I don't have any refined sugars. I've been like that for years. But in 2012, the year of the Olympics in the UK, I went to stay at a hotel, and I went to my favorite restaurant. In London, there was a different chef on. And I went back to the hotel, and I knew they must have put sugar in it, because I went back and the whole room was spinning. It was like I was on a ship rocking, and it's like, oh my God, it was awful. And so that was worse. That was the worst. And I was right. I went back and they said, oh yeah, the chef by accident, he put curry paste in, which has made, it's got sugar in it, which he shouldn't have done. But I knew by my reaction, but that's a worse reaction than I used to get. I used to get tummy pain, tightness over my head, really lethargic, needed to just go to sleep straight away feeling. But I never got like the rocking on the ship and the room spinning. And so I've got worse with that allergy. So some people say, oh, after a while you should be able to eat these things. That's not necessarily the case. I usually end up getting more allergies, and the current allergies I've got end up being more dramatic, if you like, and stronger. So again, these things are stressful, but you know, if we focus on what's stressful, we just get more stressed over it. So there's no point. It's like fibromyalgia. I don't get stressed over it. But some people want to fix me. Like, oh, you got fibromyalgia, I want to fix you. And I'm like, well, why? Because I see myself as having resilience with fibromyalgia, strength, and superhero special abilities. Like, I'm very strong. Like, because I've got fibromyalgia, I've got actually a very high pain threshold tolerance. Very high pain threshold tolerance. That's how, because I've broken bones, I'm able to deal with it better probably than the average person would, because I can't take painkillers much either, because I'm allergic to a lot of painkillers. The only painkillers I can have are ibuprofen and paracetamol, but I even react to them sometimes together. So I'm like, when I broke my ankle, for example, the first time, I didn't take any painkillers at all for the first few days, 4 days. And then, but I wasn't officially diagnosed to the 5th day as having a broken ankle. And I walked back on the broken ankle, back from the quayside across fields. And I was answering my emails when I got home. And I put ice packs. I usually deal with everything, even itching, with ice packs, which are very cold for hours, not 20 minutes like they recommend, for hours, to a couple of hours. And when I went to the hospital, the first time I broke my ankle, he said, "You having any painkillers? Why not?" I said, "Because it says it masks the pain." When I read it online, you shouldn't do that for at least the first 24, I think, to 48 hours. He's like, yeah, but I'm a doctor, and even I would take the painkillers. But he said you've got a high pain threshold, but it's because I got fibromyalgia. I'm used to being in pain all the time, and I block a lot of the pain out with my power of my mind, that I'm used to being in pain, so that when I actually have broken bones, I am in agony. My back was really agony, but I'm able to deal with it better than probably someone who hasn't ever had a pain condition because I'm used to pain. It's not an unfamiliar thing to me. And so a lot of stress comes from when we're unfamiliar with things or not that familiar with stuff because it's like a huge shock to the system. Because it is a shock because I don't expect to break bones. But when I've done it, it's kind of like know how to deal with it. I know how to like help myself in the moment, how to try to get myself better. I recognize the type of different pains and I know how to treat myself, So I'm able to cope a lot better than some other people probably would because I have fibromyalgia. It is like a superhero power in the sense that I can stand, for example, cold ice pack on me for hours, even on bare skin. Although the other day I got a new ice pack and I put it on my skin, which you're not supposed to do because you can get burnt. But I've never been burnt by any of my plastic ice packs before, ever, that I can ever remember. And then this ice pack was one I got off Amazon, which isn't a plastic one. And I put it on there just briefly. And then I wrapped it in something the other day in my leg, and it actually burnt my leg. I got a huge burn across it, but it didn't really hurt when I burnt it. That's the problem because I got such a high pain threshold. I didn't even realize I burnt it until I just like, oh, that's weird. It's like sticking to my skin. I must put it off quickly. And then this whole red patch was there, and I'm like, been trying to get that better for the last few weeks. So what happens with me is I get a problem, I get an issue, and I'm like, okay, now I need to solve this problem myself. So because I've got fibromyalgia condition, I'm constantly having, and I get different allergies and stuff, I'm constantly having to try and find myself new remedies, new ways of fixing my problem, new ways of dealing with my health all the time. It's a constant battle sometimes, and it is stressful, a constant battle, but also it's rewarding in the sense that, oh, you can fix your own problem because doctors a lot of the time can't fix my issues. They don't know what to do. And a homeopath I went to see about a skin issue this year, and she caused me to have this digestive problem that I'd solved 10 years ago that I'd never had. She gave me something I didn't realize what she was giving me, which was hormones in my body, which I would never have agreed to. I didn't realize what they were. She's like, oh, they're so watered down in homeopathic medicine, doesn't really matter. But that cocked my whole digestive system. I've just got that better. It took me basically 5 months to sort that out myself by doing loads and loads of research and finding the problem. The additional problem, because I've been taking digestive enzymes for 10 years, since 2013 for that issue. 2014, sorry. 2013, end of 2013, I got the digestive issue problem. And then 2014, I was on 8 tablets a day by the doctor. And then I finally, with, I saw a nutritionist and everything, but I finally worked out myself, got to take 2 digestive enzymes in the morning before I eat anything. And that's been solving my problem for 10 years. And she gave me this stuff, which had nothing to do with my skin. And that's what happened. And it was awful for a long time. There's videos on this channel because I pretty much recorded most of my life where I talked about having gastritis, but it was really bad for a long time. It was really worse initially because my whole tummy swelled up. And then it was still been bad. But yeah, I think I've finally gotten over that. Like I had something the other day that wasn't good for my tummy. I got tummy pain on Saturday. But I'm like, oh, I've probably got a problem with that now, so I can't eat that. So, you've got to, like, I believe you've got to advocate for yourself in life. You've got to stick up for your own needs. And you've also got to try and find solutions to your own problems. Because when you become a solution focused and a problem solver rather than focusing on the problem, then you actually learn to be much more resourceful in life, much more resilient in life, and much more stronger, which is what we want to be doing in stressful situations. We want to be able to, over a period of time, the stresses we go through, we need them to build resilience within us, strength within us, and we need to be able to become our own problem solvers. With fibromyalgia and all the health conditions I have to constantly be a problem solver. I'm like, okay, this has come up. Now what am I going to do to solve this problem? What do I think the issue is? And I spent ages this year, hours on YouTube, trying to learn from different so-called doctors on YouTube about what the issues might be to do with my skin problems, digestive problems. I'm like, until eventually I find a solution. That's stressful. It's loads of hours. It's hours and hours, which is very draining when you're trying to take all new information in for hours and hours. It's very draining. But I'm doing it to get the result I want. So a lot of the time in life, if we want to get the results we want in our life, we have to do hard things. We have to go through pain in order to get the results we want. Because otherwise, if we just stay the same, we don't really get anywhere in our life. We just stagnate and die in our life, or don't make progress. So life is hard. It's not easy. But I was thinking today, because I have fibromyalgia now, I am a huge problem solver, because fibromyalgia is an autoimmune condition. So although you can't die from fibromyalgia, it constantly causes other issues where your immune system's lowered. And so you're constantly, getting different ailments as well. But this year I've had worse health than ever, I think, in terms of it being for a whole year. Apart from when I was 4 to 5, my first year of school, I had nearly the whole year off, apparently, because I had so many illnesses. But I think since being 4 to 5 years old, I think this is the worst year I've had for health. Nearly every month, most weeks, I've been ill with something or multiple things at once. So I didn't expect 2024 to be like that for me at all. But like, damn, this has been a hard year for health. But it's really made me pay attention to my health. It's like, you've got to put your health first. Health has to come before everything and anything. Because if you're not healthy, you can't do any work. You can't do your books. You can't do your YouTube channel. My voice went, didn't it? Respiratory infection. And so, I have to put my health first all the time, which means sometimes just switching off and just like relaxing with a movie. It means sometimes just listening to music. It means sometimes like I'm not in my asexual groups on Facebook as much as I wish I was. But unless I'm healthy as much as possible to be able to maintain and sustain those groups on my own, because I'm the only admin for 6 asexual groups on Facebook, then I'm not in a fit state to run them at all if I don't take that time out. So those I'm not in it quite as much some of the time, which I wish I was. I know that I've got to like take that time out for me to gain my strength, to be as best I can, to function in my life. And health has to come first. Health is wealth, as they say, and it's so true. So make sure that you do prioritize yourself and do put yourself first as much as you need to do in life. Doesn't mean to say you ignore people. You just let family, friends, or people know as much as you can. Hey, this is happening in my life at the moment. Sometimes I post in my groups like I'm doing this. Like I posted a while ago that I've broken 2 bones in my spine. That I'm trying to find a home to move to. So I've really got to announce. I haven't actually put an official post in to say I don't think I've done it. I know in one group, my groups, I was talking, saying I've found somewhere to live now, but I don't know if that was an actual post on its own. I can't remember. I have to double check that. But basically, I think I might have said I found somewhere to live, but I'm actually in the process of moving now, so I need to kind of update that. But you've got to pick your battles in life, and you've got to pick the things that you can do. You can't do everything. When I've got a ton of extra work every day at the moment because of my moving, which is packing boxes, moving stuff to a new place myself, by a case or shopping trolley of things that I think, well, by the time I've packed it, it could get damaged. I may as well just transport it myself by walking up the road with it, because I live not far away from my new place. But it's still hard work trundling up the hill, walking that far, going up all the 7 steps in my new block of flats. It's hard work. So I've got to pace myself and okay, it's like, what are you going to do today? Like some days I can't stream at the moment, I'm having to tell you that. But this is what we have to do. We have to keep others informed. We have to take time out for ourselves. We have to put ourselves first in order to serve others. We have to serve ourselves first in the best way possible. I hope you found this video useful, helpful, insightful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks to Warren Jones for being in the live stream chat tonight. Really, really lovely to talk to you, Warren. Thanks for everyone else that's joined in. Don't forget to get Asexual Perspectives, best asexual selling book on Amazon, and also this is a bestseller as well. Diary Confessions of a Hyper-Romantic Asexual, 78 Life Lessons to Asexual Life. And please get a copy of Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. It will really help you in life to have less pain, more energy, and feel happier like a superhero rock star. And you'll love the insights you gain from this autobiographical book. So go and grab a copy of all these. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Like I said, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. So when I do stream, you'll be here. Lots of love. Take care. Bye and stay ace.